Welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast with Core 4 Complete Fitness. Your episode is starting in 3, 2, 1.
Kid.
3.
I did want to say that, actually. That's funny. I was wrong.
The man is human. Hello, peoples. Welcome to 2025, everybody. Our little holiday break is over, and we're back in action with you guys. So, if it's a new year, you haven't listened to us yet, welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast. We go over everything health, fitness related, mindset related to get you guys to move the needle in the right direction. If you've had trouble getting in shape in the past or currently, this is the podcast for you. We put it out once a week, every single Wednesday for you. So if there is, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on an app, there's a subscribe button. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll get notified right away when we drop a new podcast. That way you can stay on track with everything and don't have to scroll back weeks and weeks and weeks. So the only thing that we ask of you before we get going is to please subscribe to the podcast. Hit that little button. It helps us bump up the charts. And ultimately, the more people we can help, the better off the world will be. Now, today, 2025, New Year's resolution time. I know we've beaten into your heads over the past couple of weeks going into the new year. Don't do the same old stuff. New Year's resolutions, there's a whopping failure rate. They said 97% of fitness resolutions don't come to fruition. 97%. So people usually bite off more than they can chew. When that happens, you can only maintain it for a couple weeks or a couple months. All of a sudden it blows up in your face and then you're right back to where you started a couple months in. So today we're going to tap into basically what's worked well for us, what we've seen inside of our gym, what we've done personally. And so that way you guys have kind of a formula that you can test the waters with going into the new year. And if you're like, I do the same stuff every year, I promise myself the moon and then I completely blow it up. This is something that's going to make it maybe a little bit more simplified for you, where you can go, I'm going to take this formula that Corey or Evan or past people have done and copy it into my life. Now, with the new year, what generally happens, guys, is people the past 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's Eve, it's chaos, right? Where you go, I'm eating cookies and I got sugar everywhere. And there's pie, and I got leftovers, and my schedule is broken, and I might have a slow week or time off work, and the kids are out of school. And that systematic, just Monday I have breakfast at this time, I have lunch at this time, I work out at this time, I have dinner, we watch a movie, and we go to bed. And you kind of repeat the process throughout your work week. When that gets scrambled, everything becomes chaotic, right? And I was talking to people inside the gym about this. It's weird that the more time you have to succeed sometimes works against you, or it just becomes like a you versus you day inside your house. You get bored, you're watching TV or you're watching football, and you think, what's in the fridge? And before you know it, it's 12 o'clock and you've gone to the fridge like 6 or 7 times. So what has worked well for me, guys, is to start off slow. And with a lot of us, we start off the new year and we're very gung-ho. And we're like, okay, Monday, it kicks in. I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. I'm doing it for an hour. I'm eating nothing but salads. I'm going to take on intermittent fasting. I'm going to drink all this water, get all the steps in. And you can only maintain that before you have, let's say, a chaotic day or a chaotic week at work. And then everything begins to blow up. So what I like to do, easing myself into the new year, is focus on the good habits that I already have or the habits that are developed. But might not have been as shiny as they usually are around Christmas time and New Year's, and build off of those, right? So for instance, if I normally get in, I try to make it a point to drink 4 of these a day, and that's about my daily allotment of water. After Christmas, we had to drive to a wedding, stay there Saturday, pack the car up, drive back from the wedding. So I was in the car, unless I wanted to stop every, hour, I would not be able to drink all these. I tried to make up for it when I got to the house. But I know that I fell short on water. When we were eating, at the house, it was kind of just whatever everybody was cooking. So I wasn't able to get, my consistent 20, 25 grams in every single meal. I went for a couple jogs, went for a couple runs, which is better than nothing. But you can see how that rosy picture kind of gets diminished over time. So what I usually do is say, what are the habits that I have and where am I falling a little bit short on those habits? So if I was falling short on water, okay, let's tune that up a little bit and make sure I'm good to go. If my workouts were, 3 days a week over the holidays, let's push it back up to 4 and 5 like usual. If I was eating, whatever I could find for breakfast or lunch or dinner, let's go back to having chicken for lunch or chicken for dinner, eggs for breakfast, and get my protein back in. All of a sudden, it's a week or two, and you're like, okay, I'm back in my system, I'm back in my formula, and it really didn't feel like that much of an overhaul. Rather, to go, I'm feeling guilty over the holidays. I'm going to starve myself on Monday. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and it's a lot for your body to take on. So, starting with the simplistic approach of looking at the good things you already did, tuning them up to really get them dialed in at 100%. Then, if you want to, expand on that and, go more into nutrition or go into counting macros and stuff like that, you have a good foundation built already rather than take it on all at once.
It's almost like starting with the easier stuff, the stuff that's just very manageable, getting to bed on time, waking up when your alarm clock goes off, stuff that we didn't necessarily do as much of over the last month or two, depending on everyone's life. Get the kids to school, and then like water, like you said, that's such an easy fix that immediately makes you feel better, immediately makes you feel more productive and more on top of it, and then that will snowball into the things. Yeah, mine always ends up being the same as I stop myself from looking too big picture. I just think in either month at a time, week at a time, day at a time, because the big picture stuff is what ultimately leads to that failure when you talk New Year's resolution. Because you go, okay, I'm going to be perfect for a year. You go, okay, then the one time you're not perfect, all of a sudden the whole year is a failure because you made it that way. You said those were the standards that you're going to be doing. You're going to have a perfect year. That's not realistic. So just do today, right? And the whole intent of your goal, my goal, speaking from personal experience, is always the driving factor. Like I train, work out in order to be fit, to do things and not to look fit. Now the good thing is you get both when you train to get, to be fit. That's not make believe. That's actually you get a fit body when you're trying to be fit, right? Now, if your focus is on just looking fit and all of those stuff, I found it's a lot easier to cheat and let things break down and crack. And you can even do stuff as simple as, oh, I did a good lifting day, so I'm going to eat a lot of carbs and crappy foods for me because that's better for my muscles. Like you can really start to rationalize and change and get away from your even goal, and you're going to start fueling your body with bad food simply because of the way you trained your muscles. And then it's like that's where the line gets blurred between health. Like, no, you're just trying to be healthy. You're trying to make good choices with meals 90% of the time. You're trying to work out and train your body in a smart, efficient, effective way that's not going to burn you out or hurt you or do anything damaging. And you're supposed to hydrate your body, drink water. You're supposed to sleep. You're supposed to limit stress, which means sleep, because we're more stressed. We get more cortisol into our body the less we sleep. You're supposed to prioritize those things to have a happy, healthy body. And it makes it just a lot easier to be like, okay, I'm just going to prioritize those things rather than, okay, I'm 6 days a week. I'm hitting the gym hard. I'm eating nothing but broccoli and rice and chicken Monday through Friday. It becomes very, very overwhelming, and you lose the purpose of it all. It's health focused, and it's for you. It's to be and good, to be better, to feel better, to look better. All of the things above, like it's not an obligation. It's not a negative thing. It's a start. If you use New Year's as a good start, something to kind of hold you accountable and hold your hand through it, use it to your advantage. It's a good thing. It should be a positive. But it's a negative when it's all of a sudden you give yourself another job you have to do. It doesn't have to be. Make a choice, do something good for your body every day, and let that build into what it builds into.
Yeah, and like you said, like even though they're very close to each other, being healthy will always lead to looking healthy 9 times
Right.
out of 10.
Right.
However, if you're only focused on looking healthy, that doesn't always equate to being healthy. When you're only
Absolutely.
focused on looking healthy and it's, I got to lose this in this amount of time, or I got to get this off as quickly as possible, you
Yep.
tend to do stuff that don't work with your lifestyle, and you tend to lose focus on how can I keep this going eternally instead of just, I want to get rid of this and look good as quickly as possible. You don't build those habits into your
No.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um,
It's inauthentic. It's lying. It's going, oh, if I do this, if I have good looking arms, that means I'm fit. It's like, no, because if you have to walk upstairs, you feel like you're going to pass out. If you have to just go for a 3 mile walk, or if you have, God forbid, an emergency situation that you need to have some cardiovascular health, or to move your body, or get on the floor, or get up, or you're stuck and you need to get out and you need the strength. You just don't have the ability. Who cares what your biceps look like? You've been prioritizing everything wrong. However, if you have been training to just be fit and happy and healthy, your biceps are going to look sweet.
yeah.
That was well said by you. It's you get both by focusing on the right thing. You get one by focusing on the wrong thing.
I listened to a podcast when we were driving, and they talked about um New Year's resolutions, and everybody wants to get in shape in 2025. And he goes, you have people that will start off the year that, let's say they've been skimping out on the gym for not even the past 2 weeks, maybe it's months, maybe it's years. And they go, I am going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to go to the gym. And they go, sometimes that's hard for people because your circadian rhythm is set to wake up at a later time. So your body isn't tuned up to kind of wake up. And so we said one of the cheats that happen, and especially in the Midwest when it's dark all the time and we don't get a lot of sunlight, it was all about how to like reset your circadian rhythm. But he said if you can work out in the morning and you can do it for 3 days in a row, your body, almost like waking up to sunlight, starts to anticipate, even when you're asleep, hey, I know I'm going to exert myself soon. Let's
Nice.
push, I don't know what they are, but let's say chemicals into your brain, into your body. It's time to wake up. This is when you usually work out. Your heart rate's going to pick up soon. And it
Wow.
becomes 10 times easier to wake up in the morning if you can just do it for at least 3 days. So they goes,
Wow,
get
that's
past
awesome.
the first, week essentially, and then your body starts to kind of like anticipate that wake up where it gets easier and easier every single day. And even like, I know coaching, like we get up early and everybody's like, how do you get up so early? And I'm like, it is 10 times harder if I break my routine and then have to
Mhm.
go back to waking up early than just going to the bed around the same window, waking up around the same window. I go, it's like it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, creatures of habit is what
Mm-hmm.
we are. And that's another reason why in the last month we feel so crappy 9 times out of 10. When you start the year, you're like, oh, okay, now I got to start, and I'm so out of shape, and I'm 15 pounds heavier than I wanted. It's just like, yeah, we've gotten out of whack because it's fun, because our habits are kind of challenging. They challenge us. It's uncomfortable. We have to wake up early. We have to eat the right food. We have to stay active. We have to do stuff out of our comfort zone. So now we got to get back on track of it. And it's not necessarily comfortable. So it's very normal to just kind of let that bleed into February, March, April, and then we have this big picture idea we're fascinated with, and we go, well, maybe 2026 will be it. So, um, yeah, I think giving credit to that, like, we need structure, we need habits, and we need the consistent bedtimes, the consistent meal times, the consistent hydration, the consistent exercise, the body movement. It's overlooked a lot. A lot of people kind of fly by the seam of their pants, and they're kind of like, well, whatever, I'll grab this, I'll grab that. And it works for some, but I think it doesn't work for most.
I would agree. And I think with a lot of people, like we've touched on in the past, is, starting the new year, they tend to bite off more than they can chew at first. And we touched on this before, but part of it is you're in a pain spot, right? You feel gross, you feel bloated, you feel puffy, you've been eating more sugar, you've been eating more carbs, your diet isn't cleaned up, maybe you're not moving as much as you should, you're inside your house more often than not. And it's very easy to kind of go like, I want this to stop, so I'm going to do everything possible to kind of get out of this painful spot. But when you can take it kind of, instead of, overhauling everything at once, which is very stressful, especially when the kids go back to school, work's piling on the first week at work. You're like, how the hell am I going to balance this? But if you can go, okay, week one, I'm going to implement X, Y, and Z. I'm going to write it out so I'm comfortable. Week two, I'm going to implement X, Y, or Z again, and I'm going to repeat that process. It makes it 10 times easier going into the new year. But with a lot of us, every new year, we almost do the exact same thing, knowing that every single year previously it set us up for disaster. And you would think that you would learn from like the past habits, but part of it is they're so far gone. It's been a whole year, you kind of forget. And you're like, oh, well, it didn't work last year, but this year's going to be different. And it's the same stuff. Kids go back to school, you're swamped at work, you do something for a month or a few weeks, and then it falls off. And you're like, yeah, but this year's going to be different. I won't do it this time. So if you're one of these people that every year is a habitual resolutioner that keeps going, it's going to be different this year, but you keep doing the exact same thing, try a different approach this year. Take it step by step, ease yourself into it. So that way, when February, March, April, May come, you're like, wow, I actually stuck with this throughout the winter time. Now I'm looking good going into spring and summer. And you know what they say, the spring and summer bodies are made right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Your old way of doing things will lead to your old way of living. It's a quote or something like that, pretty close. And it is true. Yeah, you can't just do the same thing and think it's going to be different results. It's also the definition of insanity, they say. Definition guy all of a sudden. But
man likes to read the dictionary.
Dictionary boy. Yeah, I just think it's doing it for the right purpose at the end of the day. Doing it because you got I don't feel good. Why don't I feel good? Because I know I'm not in good shape. Everything's hard. My back hurts. My knees hurt. I'm overweight. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, so do it. I'm making an Instagram profile to lose 100 pounds this year, and I'm projecting everything, and I'm making sure I'm this, and I'm keto, and I'm hard 75, and I'm jumping on every trend. Just stop. Just do it. Just do the work. Do a little bit of work. It doesn't have to be crazy. 20 minutes a day, and you can change your life in 6 months from just the 20 and mindfulness of what you eat. It's not. We did the 0 pounds gain challenge. Which, just to quickly explain for anybody who, non-members, we did a challenge in the gym. It was from after Thanksgiving, or was it just December?
Thanksgiving Day.
From Thanksgiving Day until the New Year, every Friday we did a weigh-in. So you got your initial weigh-in, and if you broke even on the scale or lost, you would get a ticket for a raffle ticket, and then we donated half. I think we actually talked about this on the podcast, but now that it's finalized, so many people had so many tickets, and not everybody lost weight. Some people didn't lose a pound. Some people lost 3 pounds. Some people lost 8 pounds. So it was like, okay, all different levels of success. But all it was being mindful. And our winner, Becky, who's actually been on the podcast years ago, she said to us, or to me, she was just like, this wasn't like a challenge where I had to really be killing myself all the time, but all it did was keep a little extra mindfulness on when I made decisions. And it's like, I didn't lose any weight, but it's okay. And it's like, yeah, but the difference is that mindfulness is gaining 8 pounds in the last 5-6 weeks that you wouldn't have gained. Just being mindful, okay, you're breaking even. So sometimes it's just the neglect and absent-mindedness that is screwing us over. You gained 20 pounds over the holidays. Why? I still worked out. It was just the cookies, or it was too much beer, or it was just not being mindful. You had a day where you woke up and you went pancakes into pizza, into chicken wings, into, I don't know, everything. And that was all the whole time, was just drinks and mimosas and Bloody Marys, into beers, into you strung days like that together, and you were up late, and then you slept in, and you didn't exercise because you were hungover. It's like, yeah, it wasn't just the time of year thing. It's just forgetting. It's just losing the priority for it, and it's okay. But when you get it back, just keep it simple. Don't stress yourself out by prioritizing. Oh, it's got to be absolutely perfect. No, get your workouts in. You know you feel better when you get your workouts in, so do that so you have some energy in this cold, dark time of year. Get your workouts in for that aspect. Get your nutrition in because you know it's good for you. It's done.
Yeah, that's
Simple.
what that Erin chick that I snapped a picture of. If you're listening,
Yeah.
Erin, wonderful work. But I think she lost
Congrats.
like 6.5 pounds from Thanksgiving to New Year's,
That's awesome.
and she was like, honestly, she's like, I still like if I wanted to have a cookie, I would have a Christmas cookie, but it
Yes.
wasn't. I'm eating three. Like it was just that brief little moment of like, oh, I've already had a cookie today. I'm good.
It changes everything. It's literally mindful. It's the 90-10 thing.
Yeah. She's like,
Not
I didn't feel like I really sacrificed over the holidays per se. She's
no.
like, I still enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I was sitting on my hands, but just
Yeah.
that little kind of hidden reminder going, if you want a cookie, have a cookie, but then it's back on track after the cookie.
That's exactly what Becky said. She was just like, it just kept me on top of it so I didn't go off the deep end. So it's like, yeah, sometimes that, that is the difference. And then all of a sudden you start your next year, you're 10 pounds heavier, but that's 10 pounds heavier than you were last year when you were 10 pounds heavier last year. And that's why we look up finally after 15 years of being a mom or being a dad or just starting a new job or a new lifestyle, and we go, what the hell happened to me? I'm 60 pounds overweight. It wasn't overnight. It was just a change of habits and mindset and priorities. That's it. And so we just get them back, and it feels good. That's the thing that drives me nuts. And me personally, when I do it, like I was not great this last month. I'm not going to say that I was Mr. Consistent chicken and broccoli. Hell no. I had a lot of cookies. I had a lot of beer. I was up late. We had, babysitting help. Candace was off for 2 weeks straight, so she was just like stay-at-home mom, which freed me up a lot with my schedule because like from here I go home, I'm dad duty until Chan at 4 when he goes down for a nap, personal training. Like I'm very regimented throughout the day now, but the last 2 weeks I wasn't. It was pretty like, yeah, whatever. Go take a nap. I can do this. You can do that. So I got to get back into the swing of things 1000%. I was not good. If I jumped on the scale, I'm probably up a little bit, but I also made sure I kept working out throughout the time. So I didn't just not work out for the last 2 weeks. I also made sure I didn't just eat bad because it makes me feel bad. It's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward. I don't feel good. If I wake up and just have pancakes and Fruit Loops, I do not feel good by noon. I feel different, noticeably different. And then I want to be able to go somewhere and go. We took Rowan ice skating one day. We took, we went all of the stuff. We came to your house one time. Like you live your life, but you don't want to just feel like crap during those times. So do the checklist. Eat your good food. Get your protein in. Get your workouts in. Get your water in. You don't have to just throw it all. Like that's what I mean. Like it's viewed as a bunch of negative stuff we're doing all the time. Don't view it as that. View it as like
Yeah.
it's your positive stuff that you're doing. You go to sleep every night and you love that time. You love bedtime. Yeah, it's because it's good for you. You need to do it. That's what your body's craving. Do it, and then the next morning you wake up and you feel okay. Let's treat that the same way. Yeah, I got to get my protein in because I'm going to feel better. I got to drink my water so I'm going to feel better. I got to exercise because I'm going to feel better. And keep that a priority. And then everything else, it just becomes a lot easier. It's not negative. It's positive.
Yeah. There was a lady that came in Monday and she just kind of poked her head in and she was like, I've seen you guys on Facebook. I'm probably going to sign up. But she's like, I know I got to lose some weight and my knees are killing me. And like, I haven't done much. And long story short, she's like, I know myself. I start stuff for a couple weeks and then I piggyback off of it. And she's like, so what happens if 3 weeks I'm in and I quit? I'm like, the problems that you just laid out for me are all going to be there still. And I was
Yeah.
like, you're going to just ping pong back and forth and back and forth. So I'm like, eventually the old habits and the old tendencies that you used to have, I'm like, the farther you can separate yourself from those, the easier it gets to stay separated. But if it's almost like what's that shit the kids have? Slime, where it's like you pull away and then it sucks you back in, and then you pull away again and it sucks you back in. But I'm like, if you can keep stretching and stretching and stretching, eventually that band or that slime band, we'll call it, breaks, And you're like, okay, these are my new habits. These are my new tendencies. I can stick with these now instead of always kind of remembering what I did a couple weeks ago or how it was easier to go back to sitting on my butt or eating crap or whatever it is. But I was like, if your knees hurt, I go, for every pound that you lose, I think it takes 3 pounds off of your joints. So I'm like, even just losing a pound, something as minuscule as people think a pound of fat is, I go, what it does internally, like to bring it back full circle, the beginning of the podcast, I go, if you're focused on just the physical side of it, you'll want to rush the process. But when you can focus on, I'm doing this because my knees are going to feel better. I'm doing this because I'm not going to be tired every day. And then the results will come with that. But if you can focus on that step by step, just like you said, I'm doing this to be healthy. I'm doing this to feel good. I'm doing this to have more life. I'm doing this to have more energy. So every day I wake up and I feel like $1 million instead of every day waking up feeling like crap or down on myself or defeated. I go, that's worth its weight in gold. But I'm like, ultimately, if you do the same stuff again, you're just going to go right back to where you were. But it's up to you to kind of move it all in the right direction.
Yeah, it's one of those painfully obvious things. I love the keto thing. There's somebody who's 20, 30 pounds overweight and they're unhappy, so they come in wanting to make a change. And they go, well, I did just start keto diet. I did that 3 months ago and it worked really well for me. And I'm sitting there going, no, it didn't. It didn't. I'm sorry, it didn't. We are 3 months removed, and you just said you're 30 pounds overweight and unhappy. What part of that makes you think that worked? That didn't
they're
work.
like, I worked, I lost 20, but then I gained 22.
Okay,
But
didn't work.
It worked when
Move
I did
on.
it, and I'm like, no, you're right back. You're right back to where you started.
Right, didn't work. Moved on. Now they're right in saying it worked for a time. Okay, well, why didn't it work? Because it wasn't sustainable. Because it went. Okay, well, let's make that sustainable. Let's figure out what you didn't. It's always seems like such common sense. And again, I don't mean to say it like I'm some perfect person. I haven't, especially like coming off the heels of the holiday break, but the blueprint's there, right? You know what's good and what's not good, and the old way, the stuff that you have been doing, has not been working, and that's okay. One day at a time, let's figure out a new route. I think that's the best way.
Agreed.
There is something I do need to say. I need to come clean on the podcast. We started right when the podcast started. We were talking about it, but I don't.
Let them know.
We caught it.
Let them know.
I was wrong about the Lions' season record. I thought they would be 14-3, and the boys were 15-2. Oh,
unreal.
Boy, was I wrong. Boy, am I so mad I was wrong.
Embarrassed, really.
15-2, Corey. 6-0 in the best division in NFL history.
I know.
They swept them all.
I came into work on Monday, and I told Seth, I was like, yesterday, besides getting married and my kids being born, were one of the best days of my life.
Absolutely.
I go, hockey got canceled, so all the boys just showed up with a bucket of pucks.
Yep.
Had a scrimmage, free ice time. I go, we leave there, the Lions win. I'm like, it was the perfect afternoon.
God, it was so good. It was so good. We're so dialed in.
Now the real question, would you rather play Minnesota after just whooping their ass, or would you rather play the Rams?
I'm going to go Minnesota.
Oh, my boy just wants to bury him.
Stafford can do it in Ford Field. He's a veteran. He's won a Super Bowl. He's got weapons. Sam Darnold never proved he could do it. So he would, on top of beating us just in another game, their defense played pretty great in the first half. They can't count on doing that again. So on top of shaking off all of the stuff that he can't do, allegedly, after his one attempt, he also needs to then best us. I just don't think they got it this year.
That's our Rams. Stafford scares me way more able to turn a game around than Sam Darnold does.
They lost last year in the playoffs by 1 point to us, and then first week of the season, overtime loss, which was a coin flip, right? They would have won the coin flip. Maybe they would have won. So
I know. And I just feel like he's due. I'm like, I don't think Stafford's going to keep coming here and losing.
No.
I feel like he's going to get one of them. I just don't want it to
Right.
be that
And
first week.
I will say the Rams, they kind of haven't looked as great lately. Like a month ago, I was horrified of the Rams and the Packers. Now, not so much. They both kind of seem to have calmed down a lot. But that's a month ago we looked bad, and now we never looked bad. God, that drove me nuts. Everyone Bills game jumped off the bandwagon. It was laughable. All these people that think they know ball. That's hilarious. Anyway, but we looked rough. Injuries, all of the stuff that we know happened with the season. But now it's like, I don't know if it's because we're riding high or it's because those two teams, Packers and Rams, they haven't been great. I'm really not as worried. Like, when I'm watching this weekend, I'm not really going to be having a preference. I'm just kind of like, who we play, we play. Yeah, the truth is, you got to win 2 games to go to the Super Bowl, and they're going to be good teams. That's what the playoffs are. So it's okay. You got to win them. That's the beauty of it. So, but I personally think it's going to be the Commanders. I think the Commanders are going to beat the Bucks. I really
that would
do.
be huge. They're sneaky good.
Yeah, I think they'll beat the Bucks. Probably a real close game. I think the Eagles will beat the Packers, and then Vikings will beat the Rams. But then that would be Rams or Vikings, Eagles, and then we would play the Commanders. That's what I kind of think is going to happen. Obviously, I don't know. As we know, I've been wrong. I said 14-3, and we were 15-2.
I know.
So I was
You're not
way
perfect.
off. I'm not perfect, so I could definitely be wrong, but I kind of think we'll play the Commanders, and then we will promptly beat them 41-21.
Oh my God, I can't wait. And I told you, we don't have hockey on Sunday. So we get to just sit, watch the whole game.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about a thing. So
Yeah,
it'll be a good one, people. We'll keep you posted.
The hockey schedule's been pretty diligent on, the weekend after Thanksgiving we played, around Christmas we played, then we had one off. But MLK Day, they made sure they had that weekend off.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. Christmas time we play, New Year's we play. MLK Day, take it off.
Yeah, no. I celebrate alone.
Yeah. But what else, peoples? Like always, if this is your first time listening to the podcast or you've been listening forever or you do need some help getting into shape, the Core 4 Complete Fitness Podcast has our own supplement line. It's called core4supplements.com. It's just called Core 4 Supplements, but the website is core4supplements.com. If you need anything, guys, everything we have tastes delicious. Everything is approved by the FDA. It is all extremely safe. I give it to my kids. Well, some of them, not all the supplements to my kids. But we have a daily green supplement if you know that you've been slacking on your greens or you're not getting enough. Tastes fantastic. I just had a scoop in the morning with my water and slam it on an empty stomach. You feel like $1 million after. We have whey protein. We have vegan protein. We have pre-workouts. We have BCAAs. Fat burners. We have pretty much everything you can imagine under the sun. All is fantastic. If you go to core4supplements.com and you listen or you watch the podcast, if you use the code word podcast when you check out at the end, you'll save 10% off your entire order. And if you spend over $100, you get free shipping on all of it, and it arrives right at your house, so you never have to leave the door. So you can double up the coupons if you want, 10% off and the free shipping. But it's yours to help kick off the new year. If you need some help getting in shape, or if it hasn't been squeaky clean the past 2 weeks, then look no further. We got you covered. So, but that's all, peoples.
One of those simple things we were talking about. Add a protein shake every day. Okay,
easy peasy. Easy. Quick 22 grams. Didn't have to do anything. Drink it. Takes you 10 seconds. And you got your muscles covered.
There you go.
But that is all, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Have a fantastic rest of the year. And we shall see you all next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.